Hey everyone, thanks for joining again. This is Dennis, and this will probably be my last camera review of 2023. Today we're going to talk about my absolute smallest camera, the Panasonic CM1. This device is technically a cell phone. It was the first phone ever released with a 1-inch sensor, but I treat it strictly as a camera. All of the phone parts of the device are super antiquated at this point. It was released in 2014 and is still running Android 5, and as a phone, it's woefully underpowered. So for me, I treat this strictly as a camera, but I enjoy it a lot. You can think of this in some ways like an even smaller take on the Ricoh GR or the Nikon Coolpix A. Like those cameras, it has a fixed 28mm lens with an f2.8 aperture. But the CM1 has a 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor instead of being APS-C. Unlike a lot of other newer high-end camera phones, this still maintains a lot of real camera features. It has a proper shutter button, and there's a slider here to jump directly to the camera app. And you can see the lens actually extends a little bit out of the body when you activate the camera. It has both a variable aperture and a mechanical shutter, neither of which are common on phone cameras. I use the camera in two types of situations. One, when I want to travel extremely light and don't even want to take a bag with me. This just slips into a pocket like a normal phone does. Very convenient. And two, when I'm in a situation where carrying a camera might be awkward or inappropriate. For example, at a wedding or other formal event. The CM1 can easily fit in a suit pocket, and it's very discreet. So you can get nice high quality images, and it doesn't look like you have anything more serious than a phone. In good light, the image quality can be quite nice, certainly as good as an RX100 or any other 1-inch sensor camera. Focus feels fast and accurate, although the camera takes a second to finish processing the photo afterwards. It does shoot RAW, and the files edit like any other RAW file. And in situations where I brought the CM1 instead of a larger camera, I've never regretted it or thought the images weren't good enough. And while it does take great photos in good light, it is not an optimal low light camera. Well, it has a 1-inch sensor, the lens is only f2.8, and there's no image stabilization. And unlike a modern smartphone, it doesn't have any HDR processing, or there's no night mode or anything like that. So once it's dark, you might be better off switching to your actual phone instead. I borrowed a friend's iPhone 13 Pro and did a couple of side-by-side test shots, so let's take a look at those now. Okay, here we are in Lightroom, and I have the two images here. The image on the left from the iPhone 13 Pro, and the image on the right from the Panasonic CM1. And just from the get-go, you can immediately see the difference in the rendering that the two cameras give. The iPhone photo has that HDR oversaturated look. The colors of the blue in the sky are very, very unnaturally intense. And you can see a lot of contrast and sharpening artifacts when you zoom in. In contrast, the Panasonic image doesn't have that over sharpening. It also has quite a bit more detail. The iPhone is a 12 megapixel capture, and the Panasonic is a 20 megapixel capture, so you can see quite the difference in detail. However, if you want a more natural looking photo from the iPhone, you can choose to shoot in RAW mode. And when you do that, you can see these two images suddenly don't look all that different. The raw version of the iPhone file, is still less detailed, but the sharpening here is now much more controlled, and the colors don't look so crazy and unrealistic. Like the Nikon 1J5, the CM1 is one of those cameras that shoots 4K, but at only 15 frames a second. 1080p footage is actually perfectly fine, but these days there are better options available. I've owned the CM1 for about 6 years now, and I've really enjoyed using it, and I've always been happy with the images I've shot with it. That being said, I wouldn't recommend it to most people for a few reasons. One, while it's still a better camera than most phones, phones are getting better every year, and a used CM1 is still going for around $500, money that could go to a phone upgrade. And two, the second reason I would hesitate to recommend it is its durability. The camera is getting close to 9 or 10 years old, and the battery is non-replaceable. Other parts, like the SIM tray, also break very frequently, and I doubt you could get that repaired easily. If, like me, you already have one, by all means, keep using it and enjoying it. But this is a camera that I appreciate as an interesting part of camera and phone history, more than I recommend as something you should go out and buy today. Okay, so those were my thoughts on the Panasonic CM1. Why don't you leave your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you think about this interesting phone camera hybrid, or in general, how you feel about smartphones versus cameras overall. As I mentioned, this is probably going to be the last video of the year. The year's almost over as I'm filming this, so happy holidays to everybody, and look forward to new stuff coming in the next year. All right, take care, and bye.